Happy holidays, everyone. We are back with another episode of Between the Dots podcast, episode 11. We're talking Leafs, we're talking Sens, and we're keeping you up to date with news around the NHL. A solid week for the Sens, which ended on a rough note, and a big week for the Leafs. And a big week for Between the Dots podcast as well, as we bring you a brand new segment. All this and more coming up on Between the Dots. Let's go.
Alright, episode 11. Excited for another good episode here. It's going to be tough to top last week's episode after having Kyle Betts on. That was a great episode, and I hope everyone had a chance to listen to that one. And if you haven't, you should go check it out because it was a great interview with Kyle. But yeah, feeling pretty good getting into the holiday season. How are you feeling, Fox?
I'm feeling pretty good. Got Christmas-themed episodes going on. Got a lovely Christmas sweater that I'm wearing. Looks pretty good. We gotta get you one of those for next week.
Yeah, no, it looks good. I think I'm gonna have to get myself one. Let's hop right into it with week in and week out.
Oh yeah. Alrighty, so week in, week out for the past week where we recap the Sens and the Leafs.
I'll get us going here. So as we were recording last week, we mentioned the Leafs had a 3-1 win at home against the San Jose Sharks to start the week off. It was a tie game going into the third, but Leafs had a big third. Got a goal from Engvall to get them the win in that one, so it was good. Like I mentioned, they had an unbelievably good November, so they finished it off on a high note. They then had a few days off. The Leafs then traveled to Tampa Bay on Saturday night. They had a 4-3 loss in overtime. This was maybe just the Leaf fan in me, but the refs were, I don't know, I just want to say not great. It's easy when you lose a game to blame the refs, but like Justin Hall gets absolutely, it was right on the numbers. Kucherov, terrible hit, 2-minute penalty. Looked like a 5 to me. It was clearly numbers all the way.
Regardless, that's a game you are wanting to win because it's against the Lightning too, the team that beat you out last year. And it's funny that it was an overtime loss too, where Matthews and Marner were both on the ice.
Like Marner and Matthews are so dynamic when they're on the ice together, and then in overtime, it's just they just forget how to play hockey. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense.
Matthews was the one who kind of coughed it up at the blue line there as well.
Yeah,
so
and
tough.
In all fairness to them, the Matt Murray has been very strong, and we're gonna talk about him in a little bit. But
yeah, they bounced back.
That was not a good goal though in overtime. It was from like the hash marks on the boards.
Yeah,
not a good goal, right under his arm.
No,
and the Lightning win. So they bounced back pretty quickly. Tuesday, December 6th, they had a 4-0 win in Dallas. This game, the Leafs came to play from start of puck drop to the end of the game. They were killing penalties. They were stepping up. Guys got hurt. Marner kept his point streak going up to 20 games now. Jason Robertson had a point streak coming in as well. Obviously, the Stars didn't score, so that ended for him that night. So I don't know if it makes you feel good to end a guy's point streak, but it was good to see that if one of those point streaks ended, I was glad to see Marner's continue. And Matt Murray was phenomenal. They were taking penalties. Like I said, the Stars were 0 for 7 on the power play. A good team like the Stars are rarely 0 for on the power play, especially when they get 7 opportunities. The one penalty kill I'm thinking of in the second period, 2 minutes left in the second, Leafs get a penalty, so it's 5-on-4. Justin Hall grabs the puck, closes his hand, and whips the puck down the ice. Not really sure what he was thinking there.
I've seen that in beer league once too as well.
Yeah, his brain just shuts off sometimes. I don't get it. So he got that penalty, 5-on-3, last 2 minutes of the second period. You're up 3-0. So right at the start of the penalty kill, one of the Stars defenders takes a shot, breaks Marner's stick. So it's like a 5-on-2.5. Leafs killed it off. There was a huge block from Marner without a stick. Sandin, Liljegren killing penalties because the penalties were actually Justin Hall and Mark Giordano. The two guys who were killing all your penalties. Sandin also had a huge block, and then Murray slid across for a big save. And no, it was a solid performance from everyone to get a shutout against the Stars on the road. Great bounce back game for the whole team.
Yeah, that was an impressive victory. So Dallas was tied for first in the Central Division going into that game, and they actually had the most goals scored in the National Hockey League as well. They're first in goals for, they're 11th in goals against, they're 9th in power play percentage, they're third in the league in penalty kill as well. And it's good thing they're third in the penalty kill because they're the 28th most penalized team in the league as well. So, but it nonetheless an impressive win for the Leafs. On to the Sens. Their week last week started off with a 3-1 loss to the New York Rangers. This was after we had won 2 games against Anaheim and LA. So 2 steps forward, 1 step back. We had that home and home with the Rangers where we played them again on Friday. This one we ended up winning. It was a very big win Saturday against San Jose. Sens won that one. And then we lose 5-2 against LA on Tuesday night. LA scored 4 goals in the first 12 minutes of the game. So there's just no excuse. The team's not ready to play. And DJ Smith took ownership over that one, which, I mean, it is good that somebody took ownership for it. I mean, they're still dead last in the Atlantic right now. They're only 2 points behind Buffalo. But again, like, it's not easy to make these games up, and it's a good thing we beat the Rangers this past week, a team that we may be fighting for a wild card spot with. But, I mean, we got big games coming up that we're going to have to start stringing together some wins.
It's tough with those games. You keep thinking one of these games, they're going to turn it around. They're going to get on a streak. Like, you think Jacob Trouba and Brady Tkachuk fighting at center ice, the 2 captains, like, then Tkachuk wins it in overtime in that game, and you think, like, all right, this is it. This is the game. They're gonna move on and keep moving up from there, and then they lose a couple, and then you think the game, I forget who were they playing when it was Giroux comes down on the breakaway with like not much time left, just blasts the clapper, goes in.
Yep.
Another big win, and you think, okay, yeah, this is the game. This is the one that's going to propel them forward, and they're just.
And then another step
they just
back.
Can't keep it going. Yeah.
No, yeah. So I didn't spend much time talking about those 2 big kind of positive events from the past week for the Sens, but those were just electric moments from this past week. The Tkachuk winner in overtime, and then Claude Giroux with the big slap shot. I mean, you don't see a slapper on a breakaway too often anymore.
I just love the slap shot on the breakaway. Such a power move.
It is. Yeah, it is. So, again, hopefully, the Sens can bounce back from that loss on Tuesday night and pick things up when they play Dallas on Thursday night.
Yeah, I saw the other game on the weekend. Talbot got up, had a little bit of a speech, and threw the game puck to Zaitsev. Thought you'd like to see that. He had a decent game, I guess.
Yeah, that one I feel like was a confidence booster. That's why he was giving him the goggles. And
do you know the story behind that? Like, what's the goggle thing?
Yeah, so they wear the goggles. That started with them last year. At the start of this year, they were doing something a little bit different, but since the losing streak, they decided to go back to what they were doing last year. But basically last year, if you remember, they'd hand out the bike helmet along with the goggles as well. The reason they were handing out bike helmet and goggles was because it kind of symbolizes like it's a bike marathon, like it's like Tour de France, right? So the entire season, it's not just a sprint, it's a marathon, right? So that's why they chose the bike helmet and goggles. And I guess after they started doing that last year, Nick Holden, after he won them one game, he put the helmet on and he said safety first, and it just went viral after that. So it's kind of stuck with the team and since then, and they're still handing out. This year it's just the goggles, and so that's what they are.
So the upcoming schedule for the Leafs is Thursday, December 8th. They're home to the Los Angeles Kings. Saturday, December 10th, they're home to the Calgary Flames. And then the third home game in a row, Tuesday, December 13th, they're home to the Anaheim Ducks. So 3 solid teams. I mean, Anaheim has had its issues this year. LA, good team, got a bunch of young guys, so they're still building. And then Calgary is a solid team. I mean, we know that big trade that we've talked about they made in the offseason. So a few more good tests for the Leafs. I mean, maybe you think for sure they should win a couple of these games, but I think they have a good chance to win them all. Yeah, especially on home ice. You got to give the fans something to cheer about. And hopefully Murray and I believe Samsonov is starting Thursday night. So he's had a few games off. So hopefully he can get back in there and have a good performance and then have 2 solid goalies going forward for the Leafs.
Yeah, I got all the Western teams coming in.
Yeah, and we know how the Leafs did on their Western trip out there, so hopefully they do a little better at home against these teams.
Yeah, they've been playing good hockey, though, so hopefully, like you said, they keep that going. For For the Sens this upcoming week, they play Dallas on Thursday night. That's in Dallas, and it's an 8:30 p.m. start. Then they play Nashville on Saturday, December the 10th, and that's an afternoon start as well. Seems like Sens have been getting a lot of afternoon games this year. And then next Monday, December 12th, they're playing 7:30 p.m. against the Anaheim Ducks. So a couple big games there. I mean, it'd be nice if we just win 2 out of these 3. Some news for the Sens this past week. Artem Zub fractured his jaw, so he's going to be out a couple weeks as well. And as a Sens fan, it's hard to be optimistic that the team will make playoffs after what I've seen so far this year. They're sitting 4 games below 500 right now. They're 10, 14, and 1. And that still leaves them enough time to get themselves back into it. They just got to go on a win streak. But it's hard to see this team the way that they are piecing those wins together in a row. Unless, DJ Smith is the 7th longest tenured head coach in the NHL. And all the other coaches that are tenured longer than him, the 6 that are tenured longer than him, all made the playoffs last year. We haven't seen this team prove themselves yet to be a winning team consistently, so it's hard to be optimistic. At the start of the season, you're optimistic because you haven't seen this team yet, so you don't know what they are. But after seeing them through 25 games, we kind of get a feeling that they might struggle with consistency, and that's huge if you want to eventually make the playoffs and if you're looking to get 100 points in the regular season, which is the benchmark essentially for making the playoffs.
Just wanted to quickly mention, I don't know if you saw or heard about the Sabres game tonight. Tage Thompson, 5 goals, 4 of them in the first period, 6 points. He's got to be one of the most underrated guys in the NHL right now.
Yeah, that's a lot of fantasy points.
The second time this year he's had 6 points in a game.
Yeah. And he had 40 last year, and he's really turned into an elite player in the league. So
I heard a stat the other day too, quickly about just the Dallas Stars and how they've become a really good team pretty quickly. I mean, we know when they had Tyler Seguin, Jamie Benn, and Pavelski, and they still have all those guys, but when those guys were their main go-to guys, and now they have more forwards like Robertson and D like Heiskanen, but all within the first 2 rounds, the Stars drafted Jason Robertson, Jake Ottinger, and Miro Heiskanen.
Oh, have yourself a day.
Talk about setting your team up. You get an elite scorer, a number 1 defenseman, and a very good number 1 starting goalie.
Yeah, that's a complete draft right there.
Yeah, I think Heiskanen was the first round pick, and then they had 2 second round picks, which were Ottinger and Robertson.
Good on the scouting department then. That's real good.
Yeah. Another quick news and notes around the NHL. So we know how Shane Wright was struggling, goes down, AHL, comes back, and of course his first game against the Montreal Canadiens, the team he stared down at the draft because they didn't draft him, and comes out, plays them, scores his first goal, and I just thought, of course Shane Wright scores his first NHL goal against the Montreal Canadiens.
Yeah, he was definitely extra motivated that game, and
hopefully for his sake it gets him going, and I'm thinking he'll go down to the World Junior team here. I think Seattle will let him go considering the ice time he's got there, and he's still eligible and could be a good opportunity for him to continue to grow. So hopefully he goes down to the World Juniors, but yeah, I was happy to see him score that goal.
World Juniors is always so much fun to watch.
And I love the World Juniors. Best time of the year. Time of the year. So that's it for news around the NHL this week. And now we're going to bring you a brand new segment. We're going to talk about 3 stars of the week. So what we're going to do here is me and Falks are going to combine between the Leafs and the Sens, who make the top 3 stars of the week. So it could be 2 Leafs, 1 Sen, 3 Sens, 3 Leafs, whatever. Doesn't matter. We just want to think who were the 3 best players between our 2 teams for this week.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this segment too. I'm pumped for this one. I think it's going to be interesting to see the competition between our Sens players and our Leafs players, who actually gets the 3 stars of each week. So definitely looking forward to this segment.
So let's start it off this week with our 3rd star of the week.
Third star of the week from the Ottawa Senators, Tim Stützle.
Tim Stützle had a great week. He had 2 goals, 3 assists for 5 points, tied with Thomas Chabot for the team lead this week in the last 3 games.
Yeah, he's done a great job, and really cool fact about Tim Stützle. From the past 3 draft classes, so his included because he was in the year 2020. So from the past 3 draft classes, Tim Stützle is the only player right now who is more than a point per game. And in the past 4 draft classes, there are only 2 players right now who are more than a point per game. That is Tim Stützle, and the other one is Jack Hughes from the New Jersey Devils. So I think it's safe to say that the Sens have really hit on that pick with Stützle, and it was a little bit of luck that he fell to us at 3 and that we didn't end up winning that draft lottery that year. So things sometimes happen like that, and he's definitely, without a doubt, been the best player from that draft class right now. And second star of the week
from the Toronto Maple Leafs, Matt Murray. He has been very good since coming back. I know we talked about his injury history every week because he's always hurt, but that game in Dallas, if he can be anything like that the rest of the season or games in the playoffs, the Leafs really hit on trading for him. You can just see when games like that, when he plays so good, the quality goalie that he really is back, like we talked about when he was in Pittsburgh. He's a good goalie. He just, when he gets hurt, he gets into those tough situations and doesn't perform the way he should. But seeing the way he can and should perform this week with the Leafs is phenomenal with the 44 save shutout. That's why I'm giving him second star of the week.
As much as I'd like to try and bash Matt Murray because he was traded away from the Sens, right? He was impressive this past week. He has the ability to really string together wins and get on a hot streak, which come playoff time, that could be huge.
And we'll finish it off with the first star of the week, also from the Toronto Maple Leafs, riding a 20-game point scoring streak, Mitchell Marner. He has been unbelievable. Mitch Marner is a great player to have on your team when he's killing penalties on the power play, 20 games in a row with a point, whether he's playing alongside Nylander or Matthews or Tavares. He's just a solid all-around player. He's had a great month. I know we're talking about stars of the week, but you could give him first star for the month. But Marner has been great, and hopefully he can keep going. And I'd like to see, it'd be cool to see how long he can keep this point scoring streak going.
Obvious choice for first star of the week. He's been absolutely phenomenal for the Leafs this year. He's just a really impressive player, always creating plays out there no matter who he's with, and riding that 20-game point streak right now. Honorable mentions this past week for 3 stars from the Sens, Brady Tkachuk. He had that big fight against Trouba, and he's just been dynamite for us this year, so he's going to have to lead the way in the future as well. And you got any honorable mentions from the Leafs?
I do. Mark Giordano. He has been so solid. We know a few years ago he won the Norris, and now he's kind of more in a depth role with the Leafs, but with all the injuries they have on D, he's playing number 1 minutes again alongside Justin Hall. He's also been good. But Giordano's been playing 26 minutes a night, killing penalties. And if the Leafs didn't have Giordano right now, I don't know where they'd be. So I'm glad to give him an honorable mention in the 3 stars of the week.
Yeah, that's got to be one of the best contracts in the league right now. The fact that he's playing for, $900,000 a year, and he's bringing that to the lineup every night, that's unbelievable. I watched him the other day in the Dallas game, and he made this pass to Nylander, which sent him in on a one-on-one, almost like a near breakaway, where Giordano, he could have chipped it up the boards and rushed it out and just tried to, but he took an extra half second just to hold the puck and let the forechecker get by him a little bit more, and it just opened up a beautiful lane, and he made that pass to send Nylander in. And just that experience that he brings and the ability to make those plays is just such a good value contract this year for the Leafs.
And he's a player too, if you notice, he's not the quickest skater anymore, but he's always in the right position, always taking lanes away, whether it's with his stick or with his body, doing whatever he can, and you can just see when you watch him, you can see he's been a player that's been very good in the league for quite some time.
We hope you enjoyed 3 stars this past week. Definitely a segment that we're going to continue in the future. And if you think somebody else should have been in there for 3 stars, drop a comment below and let us know who you think should be in there. So that's a wrap for episode 11 of Between the Dots podcast. How many wins from the Leafs are we thinking this week, Kijo?
I'm thinking they'll win 2 of 3. Maybe lose one in overtime, get that point, 5 or 6 points, keep it going.
We'll see what happens. So we hope you enjoy your week. Thanks for tuning in. What's coming up for us? We're continuing our Christmas episodes with a big Christmas giveaway coming up, which we'll share more details about next week with you. As always, thank you for listening. Make sure to share our videos, like our podcast if you're listening, and feel free to chat or comment on any of our posts or videos. And we are looking forward to next time. We'll see you then. And as always, go Sens, go.
Go Leafs, go, baby.